Hi guys, welcome back to the tunnel. I've got string in my face. What is going on? Hang on. There we go. Welcome back to the tunnel. There's not going to be a lot going on this week again, I'm afraid. I've still got a lot of pain in my hand. I'm still struggling to use my left hand, which means that a lot of manual labour is out of the question. And my gardening gloves got destroyed by a small black furry creature, which means that nettles, brambles and roses are out of the question this week until my new gardening gloves arrive. But what I am doing is I'm sorting out the pots in the polytunnel, just checking I've got enough pots. Having a look at what I've got here, I'm pretty sure I've got enough now. I could do with some more big planters, but I'm going to get some of those from around. I'm doing a little bit of seed planting. I'm just going to pop in some cherry tomatoes, some sunflowers and some peppers and chilies for today. I'm going to repot my begonia that's been on the kitchen windowsill over the winter because she's outgrown her pot and she's getting huge. So I'm going to pop her in a big pot and put her back outside. Now the weather's starting to warm up, she can come back outside. And then we'll see how we go from there. Not feeling up to doing a huge amount. I've also got a bad knee, which is making wandering around the garden quite difficult. And I'm waiting until Mike has a couple of days off to help me with some heavy lifting and some bits and bobs. But, you know, we're still early on in the season. We've got loads of time to get busy. Just I thought I'd talk about what I am going to plant this year. So I'm going to have 2 or 3 varieties of tomatoes as always, not as many as last year, but I am going to have some in here and some on the patio in grow bags. So I'm going to do Gardener's Delight as always, which are the little cherry ones which I love on my lunches and my salads, and I'm going to do some normal sort of salad tomatoes, and then I'm also going to get, I haven't got yet, but I'm going to get some big beefsteak tomatoes. Peppers, I'm going to do just normal bell peppers and some cayenne chilies, and possibly some jalapenos if I've still got any of those left. Peas and beans didn't really do much with the broad beans last year. They didn't do very well, and the ones we did have, nobody else eats them except me, and I couldn't eat all of them myself, so I probably won't bother with those. I'm just going to do runner beans and peas. I might do some monge too. I'm going to do more chard because that went down really well last year. That grew like wildfire and I loved that. So I'm going to do some more chard. I might whack some of that in the flower borders even, because it's so pretty when it comes up that it, you know, it will look really pretty among all the flowers with the colourful stems. So I'm going to do some more chard and squash again. I'm not going to bother with butternut squash because it didn't do very well last year. I'm just going to do a couple of pumpkins for the kids to grow for Halloween to carve. And then for myself for eating, I'm going to do more Crown Prince, the blue-grey ones, because they were delicious, and some of the Patty Pan summer squash because they did really well. And I'm also going to do beetroot as always, and mixed salad. I'm going to do mixed sort of cut and come again salad. I'm going to do baby gem lettuces. I'm going to do rocket, baby spinach, and like cress and radishes. In one of the bathtubs we're going to do carrots. I might do carrots in both the bathtubs, do a couple of different varieties of carrot, and I'm going to do some kale. I've got some really nice kale that I want to plant. Flower wise, just the usual, I'm going to do marigolds. I like to put those in between all the veggies because they're really pretty and they are really good at getting the pests. They distract the pests and keep them away from the plants, from the veggies. So I'm going to do marigolds, nasturtiums because they're beautiful and edible. Obviously lots of sunflowers. And then in the borders we're going to just chuck down a load of wildflowers. And so when Mike's off work and he can help me with the digging, or when my hand's better and I can do the digging, I'm going to dig out that patch just outside the polytunnel that I showed you last week that's got the bush in it. That's going to be the herb garden. So in there we've got all sorts. I've got all the usual suspects, you know, parsley, sage, rosemary, thyme, basil, which I also like to grow in between the tomatoes in here. I've got lemon balm, I've got orange thyme, I've got what else have I got? I've got chamomile, I've got tansy, I've got all sorts of things. Tansy I will grow in big pots because that will spread and take over the garden otherwise. Same with chives, same with mint. I'm going to put rosemary and lavender outside the front door. I'm going to put a big planter by the back gate with lots of pretty flowers in. If I can get a big enough container, I might do potatoes, but we tend to get potatoes from the farm shop down the road anyway in a big sack, and I'd never be able to grow as many as we can eat. So I might just do some salad potatoes in a big container, because you can't really beat homegrown, but I don't think I'm going to do a lot of potatoes. Obviously we've still got the fruit trees, and we're going to get some raspberry canes in as well. Oh, and sweet peas as well for flowers. I'm going to grow some very highly scented sweet peas and some jasmine, and Mike still wants to get honeysuckle to go up the front by the kitchen window, but we'll see if he manages that or not. How much these fruit trees have just come on since last week. We've got some proper buds on these. This one's the pear. And look, we already have blossom on the cherry tree. And this one comes out with these beautiful kind of red leaves. Right focus. All these beautiful red leaves, look, that are coming out. One thing I did do was get the boys out there last week, sort of during the week, with a sledgehammer and a saw, and they cut up a lot of the wood that was hanging around back there. I don't know if you can tell the difference from last week's vlog, but the amount of wood that was sort of hanging around in that back corner has gone down quite a lot. So yeah, we've made a start. I'm a little helper over here. Thanks, Nancy, can I have it? So another thing I've been doing is saving a few bits and bobs from around the house that are going to help me in the garden this year. The obvious one is toilet roll tubes. That's my seed tin, Nancy, you don't need that, thank you. We'll show them the seeds in a minute, okay? So, toilet roll tubes. Nancy, want one? These are great for starting seeds in. What you do is if you just make a few slits and then fold sort of the end in, you've got a little pot, and then you can either transfer the seedlings out, or you can literally plant these straight in the ground because they are obviously biodegradable. I'm really sorry about the light, this is a terrible place to sit. But yeah, you can plant these straight in the ground. Really? Punnets from fruit, tomatoes, grapes, things like that. They've already got the drainage holes in. Fill them with compost, plant pot. I tend to do things like cress, really good in these, salad, sort of cut and come again, herbs, and if you want to start off small seedlings like tomatoes, you can sort of multi-sow, and then obviously just prick them out and pop them into bigger pots when they're big enough. But these are really, really handy, and most people I know get through loads of these. And if you get the bigger ones that have got meat in, like mince or chicken, you can use those too. Just make sure you give them a really thorough wash and poke drainage holes in the bottom. The last thing I've been saving are milk bottles. What I'm going to do is, you can use them for watering plants, but what I'm planning on doing is sort of cut this front section off here, fill the bottom with compost, and then thread them onto a bamboo cane. So I can have a long cane with lots of these bottles all sort of hanging on them. And then they're really good for things like strawberries, or even herbs. You could do herbs, anything, tumbling flowers, sort of anything that trails. And so I'm going to pop a few along the fence, and it's just an extra way of growing things, just an extra growing space, because obviously if it's on the fence it's not taking up any ground space. You can put, I mean, if you've got a 6-foot fence panel, because you could put loads of these up and you could have an entire wall of salad or herbs. So if you've got a small garden, that's a really good tip. It's a really good way for you to grow an entire selection of herbs without having to have a vegetable patch or lots of pots on your windowsill. So yeah, what I'm going to do is, like I say, just cut out a sort of section here, fill the bottom. That's my... we'll get to the seeds in a minute. But yeah, thread them onto a bamboo cane, hook the bamboo cane onto the fence. I'll probably just screw a couple of little hooks in, or even just tie it on. And there you go, little plant pots. So, also, the other thing you can do is you can cut the bottoms off, and the same with pop bottles. Like 2-litre pop bottles, you can cut the bottoms off and use them as little mini cloches. So, and sorry, the dog is rummaging through my bag of bits. You're going to take one of my milk bottles, are you? Can you have this one that doesn't have a lid on it then, please? I'll have the lid, you have the bottle. But there are loads of things you can recycle around the house. The other thing that you can do with these is you can cut these into strips and use them as plant markers. So you can just cut the shape, you know, the little, well, like a stick out of it, write on it in permanent marker what your seedling is, stick it in the ground, job done. Same with lollipop sticks. If your kids eat ice lollies, save the sticks. But yeah, these work really well and you can get loads out of these. This is where I've been storing my seeds over the winter. It's sort of airtight, it's dry. They're all still in their packets. You will have caught a glimpse of this last week. But in here I've just got everything. So for example, these are most of my herbs. I've got mint, chamomile. I'm going to use those for making tea. No, you can't. They're going to be making tea. I've got tansy, which is beautiful. The bees love it. It's really, really good for pollinators. But also my mum's name was Tansy, so it's a bit of a sentimental one. And you can use it for sort of tinctures and healing things. Don't do that unless you know what you're doing. Just a disclaimer there. I've got lemon balm, again, great in tea. Borage, which has these beautiful blue kind of star-shaped flowers on it. I've got lemon coriander, now that I can't wait to have in salads and with curries and stuff. I've got garlic chives, normal chives, coriander, and I know I've got a load more than that, but they're all buried in that tin. So I've got a whole bunch of different sunflower varieties. So I'm going to plant a couple of each, start them off in pots and then just pop them around the garden. Aha! That's my other tomatoes I couldn't find. So for my salad tomatoes, I have got Isla Craig is the variety that I've got. And salad wise, I've got a lot of this sort of stuff, sort of direct sow, cut and come again, mixed leaf. And that's really good because you just pop it in the, I'm really sorry about the dog, pop it in a trough, pick the leaves as and when you need them, and they just keep growing back and they are fantastic. This is the kale that I've got. I've got Black Magic. You want to sow this directly into the ground sort of April, May, June. So in the next sort of couple of months I'll probably find a space in one of the beds for this. I'll probably just do one row of it and then harvest it sort of October onwards right through till next spring. So that's a really good one. But yeah, so that's about it for now. That's, as I said, again, I am sorry it's not very active again this week. I can't do any more than I can do, unfortunately. So yeah, hopefully by next week I'll be feeling a bit better. I'll be able to get stuck in a little bit more. But for now, take care and stay safe and get outside, get your fingers dirty. Bye.